We're back with our roundtable on the future of the mainstream media, whether it's good riddance to mainstream media. John Hockenberry is co-host of The Takeaway, a national program here on WNYC Radio and Public Radio International. Phil Bronstein, Executive Vice President, Editor-at-Large of the San Francisco Chronicle. Two veteran journalists. They'll be debating it on NYU's campus tonight, but they're here with us. Phil, I cut you short. You were finishing your thought. Tell me about this new media. What's the problem with Americans turning to these other new forms of communication to get their information?
Well, first of all, I don't know that we can define it as turning. There's still 50 million people in this country who pay for a newspaper on a daily basis. And so I don't think that audience is dead. And it's a little hard, it's a little challenging to defend something that's already been declared dead. But I think that the question is not, and the argument is not about the business model. I think that the old advertiser-heavy, 80% advertiser, 20% circulation revenue model is probably over. But I think that the journalism, when you say good riddance to mainstream journalism, those institutions are the ones that, A, have sponsored and supported large groups of journalists that do investigative reporting, that do international reporting, that has been vital to society, and B, they have stood up against the organs of power in this country, mainly government, which is the most powerful, and they have stood toe-to-toe. Bill Keller debates with the Bush administration about whether to publish a story about covert wiretapping. I think that's a triumph for the society and the culture, and that's what mainstream media has represented in its journalism.
John, how about that? This is a debate about journalism, the future of the nuts and bolts reporting that mainstream media still does.
Absolutely not. The idea that journalism was a central core value of the mainstream media, and we have to include all the mainstream media when we're talking about it. Newspapers have done an incredible job of putting journalism front and center. But if the newspapers can't make a living, can't be profitable with an audience of 50 million paying customers, then that's more of a problem of the management of the territory, the domain that they claim to hold so dear. I think the question of journalism is not really the issue here. When Beatles rock band came out, all right, and was a blockbuster success in September, it said one thing, and that is people are interested in the sort of existential qualities of the media, and that includes music. When the internet started to take over music downloads, people said it's going to destroy the industry. No, it destroyed the record industry, but we still hear music. What do people want? They want the existential elements of music, and that's why they buy Rock Band. When they go to the website, when they go to a Politico or even the Bloomberg, they are investigators on their own. They are getting into the participatory qualities of journalism by investigating and being part of these new media. But the newspaper industry and the single-pass mainstream media can't offer that.
Phil, you're still questioning, though, when those people visit those sites or get information out on the web, whether they can trust it, right?
Well, I think there's a credibility factor. Of course, you look at the polls, the press in general has never been held in high esteem in terms of credibility. But in terms of reliability, you know, John's talking about existential interests. I think that there is a stamp of credibility that does go with institutional journalism. And again, the business model itself may be done. It's certainly changing. And some mainstream media organizations are changing with it. Whether it's fast enough or not is another issue. But I do think that there's a nexus, there's a pro-am nexus between traditional journalism and traditional journalists who've been supported by mainstream media institutions and this new media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or anything, or HuffPo or anything else. I think there's a great nexus that we're all searching for, and I think that that is really sort of the golden egg that we're trying to find here.
What about monetizing this, making this a commercial success? We here at Bloomberg want to make money at the news business. At the same time, we're doing great journalism. What about that, John? What's the future there?
Look, journalism will exist, and it will migrate to the places that actually will pay a living salary. Those places will not be vertically integrated distribution channels, because those have migrated all over. The monetizing of journalism will be a part of individual new media outlets trying to acquire authority and become as credible as newspapers. We're not there yet. We're in transition, but the mainstream media is gone.
Phil, one last question for you. I'll let you wait.
I mean, I don't think we ought to write off mainstream media until we have some sense that actually those new forms will pay for that journalism, because that has been the strength of mainstream media. And until we know that we can continue that in our society and in our culture for the benefit of the culture and society, I think we ought not to be too quick in getting rid of mainstream media.
All right. Phil Bronstein, John Hockenberry, thanks to both of you very much.